Mike Coffin, Vice President of the Ataxia Brotherhood, and your Wrestle Fandom Radio Champion, and you are watching Wrestle Fandom Radio.
How we doing today, folks? It is just I, Joseph Stones, and I have here with me today Triple T. How are you doing today here, champ?
Hey, I see you guys got the thing switched so you can put your names back in.
Yeah, we had to reboot the whole entire system to make sure that it worked. Garrett is not here today because last week when we were leaving, Garrett was struck by Todd's vehicle.
Hey, he was in front of me. I was just driving.
He was on the freaking sidewalk, Todd.
Listen, I pay taxes for the sidewalk, too. If I want to use them in a way of that nature, and, you know, that's my right as a taxpayer. He was in my way.
You hit the host of the show with the vehicle that you drive.
Right.
And
so
now he's in the hospital, and it's just you and I here.
But the good news is, I was able to pull all the dents out of my vehicle. I didn't have to get it done, didn't have to report it to insurance or anything.
Yes, that's apparently the good thing. Garrett, hopefully, thoughts and prayers to you, Garrett. Thoughts and prayers. Hopefully he'll be back next week. I don't know who you are anymore, Todd, and it's quite sickening. But for the sake of the show, it must go on, and I'm going to put all this negative nonsense that you have going on right now and put it to the wayside. Why don't you lead us off with some big things that AEW put out this week? Was there anybody in... Oh, before we even get into that,
Are you so flabbergasted by me that you forgot the sponsors?
Garrett with a freaking car! Now, Todd, if you need some new ink, where would you go and who would you see to get this ink?
You go see Josh at Rocking Horse Tattoo.
Oh, absolutely. And if you needed some screen printing, maybe some vinyl work or anything, where would you go?
You would go see a buddy of mine, actually, who I didn't know it was at first, Mr. Fred at Seasonal Sports.
Yes, you will. And if you're feeling foggy in the head and not paying attention maybe hit somebody with a vehicle, what might you want to
you want to upgrade your brain.
Upgrade
that Freeman formula. Now, I also have heard, and I think Garrett yelled it out when I hit him, which was really weird. He was like, 15% off if you use the code disruption. I'm like, man, that's an odd thing to yell when you get hit by a car. But
well, traumatic brain injury is traumatic brain injury. It is what it is. But now back to what we were talking about. AEW. There was a AEW dark match in
Dark and Dark Elevation. First of all, between this belt and me carrying the show, everything's just getting kind of heavy. So I'm just gonna throw that over there for the time being. Give my shoulder a break. So on Dark Elevation on Monday night, it was Greek god Papadon.
Now, they just referred to him as Papadon.
As Papadon, but he was wearing the trunks that said Greek god, and I believe they actually did say that at some point in time during the match.
Gotcha.
He went against Lance Archer, put up a good fight, but in the end did lose, did get pinned. And then on Dark last night, which I didn't get a chance to watch yet, but I did see the outcome. He went against Brian Cage, who is a beast
100%.
of a man. And I did see the results. Like I said, I will watch the match some point. I just kind of forgot to, but I know the results was that he did lose that match. But Papadon always puts up a fight, no matter if it's somebody that's 180 pounds, somebody that's 400 pounds, somebody that's tall. He's always just fights to the very end.
100%.
So I can imagine that match was probably, a barn burner in itself.
Hang on one second. My sister chooses again. Hey, Em. She's She hung up. Okay. So, and then speaking of Greek on Pop Done, next Saturday, guys, the 22nd, Fitness Mill, right here in Utica, ICW Halloween Havoc.
It's shaping up to be one crazy show.
We're going to go more in depth to it. Next week, we're going to have a whole rollout of what's going to happen. We all will be there. And I talked to your scumbag boss briefly, and I believe he might be making an appearance. Might have to have Coffin handle our business then. But get your tickets. Garrett's got tickets. Coffin's got tickets. We can get you tickets. There'll be $5 more at the door if you don't buy them beforehand. Go to the show, guys. Like, support local wrestling, and like the amount of money you're paying for what you're gonna get.
Oh,
it's an absolute steal. Absolute steal.
And it's, if you've never been to like an ICW or, like
any
a local
kind
promotion.
If you're going to go to an independent show, ICW is the way to go.
But it's such a difference than going to see a WWE or AEW. It's more personal.
100%.
It's more interactive. It's just a lot cooler because those people, now don't get me wrong, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it as like disrespect to people in WWE, AEW. All those wrestlers are, heart and soul, everything in it. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that about the other guys, but, we all know that some of them are just there for the money.
Oh,
they could give a crap about everything else. And a lot of them are there because it is their love, their passion, and what they love to do. But with ICW, I mean, the heart and passion and just everything that comes out of those shows and out of those performers is just, some just next level stuff.
These are all people that have day jobs that all do stuff during the week and dedicate their free time to putting on these amazing shows for you guys. And if you have any love for wrestling whatsoever, if you love live events, this is the kind of thing you want to go to because it's worth every penny, every minute that you're spending going to this place.
And like I said, so far, they keep adding to it and just making it.
And the Sandman's going to be there. Anybody who used to watch ECW back in the day knows.
Plus, there seems to be something brewing.
Oh, look at this. Hang on. Oh, my God. Garrett. Look. That's what that
See, he's still alive.
Shit Triple T did to Garrett. How are you feeling, buddy, since the accident?
Dude, it feels like I got ran over with a car.
You did get run over by a car.
SUV.
I did?
You did. Remember Triple T hit you?
Yeah.
And then you screamed out, code disruption for 15% off when you got hit. It was weird.
It was really weird.
All right.
Well, you're here, buddy. So that answers the question of the title of today's show. Is Garrett dead?
Nope.
He is not dead. He'll be back at 37% next week.
Hopefully a little bit more.
We love you, buddy. Well, I love you.
Deep down inside, I still love you, but you were in my way.
All right, brother. Get some rest. All right? Bye, bud.
Later.
But so, and I don't know if this is something you want to speak of this week, next week, but it's out there on the internet now from ICW, an altercation. So obviously at at the last one there was an altercation between Ben Hamin and Chip Stenson, and now there's a couple videos that have come out from a Rochester show that shows Ben fancying, I'll call her a lady of the evening.
Okay.
And then out of nowhere, like an RKO, comes Chip Stenson and just chokes him out.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
boy, Chip.
What's going to come from that? That should be interesting too.
Oh, it's going to come from an ass whooping from Chip to Ben. In my opinion, my guesstimation there, Chip's on a warpath, and you
can't blame him. You really can't blame him. After that, assault at the last show by Ben, like you can't. I don't blame the guy one bit for, wanting some revenge. And
Oh, absolutely.
he got a little bit of it, but I know he wants more.
Absolutely. So next week we'll go more in depth into what to expect in ICW. But right now we got two big things to talk about. First, we'll talk about Extreme Rules, and then we'll go into Raw's first episode of the season. The kind of uneventful, even though we'll get into Raw when we get into Raw. So we started off Extreme Rules with the Brawling Brutes versus the Imperium. Now, this was a 17, almost 18-minute match. 17 minutes, 50 seconds. And it was just like a no-rules tag team match is apparently what a Donnybrook match is. I thought it was great.
It was a fantastic match.
I'm really, really digging how they've, again, reinvented Sheamus. I love the fact that he's brought back the facial hair.
He's kind of reverted again. He wears the cross again.
Yeah, he's really embracing that Celtic heritage. I just want the Mohawk to come back.
That was great. The bearded, the braided beard thing was a little funky, but that Mohawk was great. Obviously, it was for the Ninja Turtles movie. Yeah. But man, it didn't look stupid.
It looked awesome.
Now, when he would get halfway through a match and all the stuff would wear out and just flop over, but no. And I like how, I really do wish they would just say, screw this whole Butch thing, you're Pete Dunne again. I mean, they're starting to do it with a lot of other people. Max is now LA Knight again, and blah blah blah.
They've given Riddle back.
Matt,
Theory, they gave him back his first name.
But what I like too is he's toned it down a bit.
Yes.
When he first came out as like the Butch character, it was just too much. It was just over the top, way too much of his craziness and his, he still has that, but they've definitely toned it back. So I'd be okay
if they didn't call him Pete Dunne anymore and they just had him act like Pete Dunne but just call him Butch. I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
that is what it is.
It was the over the top craziness that kind of got to a point where you're like, oh, okay, dude, like we get it. You just want to fight, but the other two aren't like that. So it was just a weird offset, in my opinion.
And it was a great match to start it off. It was a very, very good tag match. Like there's a couple good spots in there that I was really digging.
I was hoping somebody was going to get sent through the double stack.
Yeah,
Butch doing a flip off, that was perfect. But I was just really hoping that they were hollow and somebody was just going to smash through them and just kind of like be left to their own, whatever on the side there. But no, that was a perfect way to start that pay-per-view. Sorry. Premium live event.
Yes, there we go. Then we had the Ronda versus Liv Morgan match, which was a great match. It was such a good match. And making it Extreme Rules, like, kayfabe levels the playing field between Ronda and Liv. The outcome was not what I expected, was not what I wanted, and I don't understand why they're taking the belt off of Liv so quickly. Unless, and I've heard a little bit of rumblings of this, that they're kind of going to do a subtle reboot to hers and Rollins' personas.
So I read this morning. So obviously we all saw when she got choked out. Yep. She was smiling.
Yes.
She was backstage in the dark. So I actually read this and I screenshotted it just a couple hours ago. And maybe you've heard this, maybe not. I hope not, because I like being the one to bring news. Since Extreme Rules has gone off the air, Seth Rollins, Liv Morgan, Ciampa, T-Bar, and Dolph Ziggler have all blacked out their social media pages.
I did see that.
So now it's one of two things. Is Triple H trolling people? Or is that going to be the
Wyatt
new faction of Wyatt?
That's what I'm thinking.
Liv would be great. Get Seth away from that craziness.
Which
Dolph,
even on Monday, he seemed less.
Yes, he seemed less like what they were.
More like the Rollins that we liked, and I would be completely okay with that. And
the one that throws me off the most is that T-bar.
Why not?
I mean, it's just
you need muscle.
Yeah, but like Ziggler, I haven't seen him on TV in a long time.
He hasn't, and I think he's due for a kind of reboot, a push, and I would like to see him go in a different direction. And he's essentially been the same character now for 10 years,
Oh yeah.
like with subtle changes here and there, but for the most part, like he's been the show off.
Yeah.
He's been the dollar store Shawn Michaels now for a decade. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think Liv would do that. Alexa did a very good job with the character with Bray, but I think Liv would also.
I do too. I think they
do a
have
good
different
job
things
with it.
planned for Alexa, and
Yeah.
I don't know if as much as Triple H is letting back in a lot of people that were let go, and kind of going back to how things were. I don't know if he necessarily wants to retread on certain storylines, and that's why we're not seeing Braun align with Bray. We're not seeing
Yeah.
Alexa align with Bray because it's been done, and it's
Yep.
time for something new. And aligning some of these guys with Bray Wyatt, like especially somebody like Liv Morgan, can only elevate them.
Oh, absolutely.
And having somebody who is so renowned throughout the industry as somebody so good to work with, and like not just in the mat but creatively, like Bray would be a perfect person to set them up with. And I think Bray and Rollins together, like that's just, you're printing money off. Like that's just gold right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we had the strap match for Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre.
That honestly, personally was kind of my least favorite match.
That was
of the evening.
100% my least favorite.
It was just not a. It started off stupid in a way, and then it just progressively got dumber as the match
Right.
went on. And I mean, there's a couple shots I was like, "Oh damn, did he hit him in the face with that?" Getting hit in the back with something like that, I feel is bad enough.
Right. Oh,
But
100%.
it looks like a couple shots where Cross actually got hit like right across like the side of the face. So,
Right.
but no, that I don't know. I mean, strap match has never been my favorite. Just
I
because-
think it's a kind of lame concept.
yeah.
And then we had Bianca versus Bailey. Bianca retained. Dude, this match was a 16-minute match, almost 17 minutes, and they crushed it.
Yes.
Like Bailey still got it.
Oh, absolutely.
And there were times like for the first ever women's ladder match, like Bailey did one move where the ladder was put out horizontal and she jumped on it on Bianca. I could have sworn she shattered her ribs.
Was it when it was across like the barrier and when
Yes.
she bounced off
Dude,
of
like-
that was
like she got enough body on Bianca, but she was mostly on that ladder. I thought she was done then.
yeah, no,
And-
that was a rough.
Like I'm digging heel Bailey this time around. I'm digging this version of heel Bailey better than the version that left last
Yes.
time. I like her with the Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Yeah, I
They do go together very well. They don't
it's-
overshadow each
and it's
other.
three very different
Yes.
women. Like where I feel like you've had female groups put together where they're all kind of interchangeable, you
Yeah.
know, and it was a great match. I'm happy with Bianca retaining. It just gives Bailey more to work towards, and it was awesome. Now, the next match I'm going to say is Match of the Week! Finn vs. Edge was absolutely amazing. It's everything I wanted. It
Yep.
was everything that I needed, and even the way it ended, like the whole to bring in Beth, like Beth coming in to save
Yeah.
Edge, and then Rhea cracking Beth in the dome with the brass knuckles. And let's be honest, we haven't seen the brass knuckies in a while.
Nope.
And thank you, Triple H, not Triple T. I'm never gonna thank Triple T for anything, but Triple H, thank you, buddy, for bringing back the brass knuckies. And it to like watch them hold Beth Phoenix and Edge still not quitting, and then putting the chair underneath him,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and him to have to give up in that manner was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. No, they did a fantastic job with that match.
And I absolutely loved it. And then we ended the night, well, last match of the night, I'll say. I won't say we ended the night with Riddle versus Rollins in the fight pit match. The only thing that threw me off about this, and Garrett immediately pointed it out in the group chat, was how they didn't change the catwalk from the NXT colors. Like, I don't know why. Like, I like this style of match. I'll be very, very honest with you.
It was definitely a cool match, but it was a little... I thought there would be a lot more happening up top than there really
A lot more
did.
spots.
And I'm not saying I want these, that's a far jump. That's, but they're just not a lot happened up top, which to me is like the difference, what makes it different from a steel cage match.
And I think that they should just do away with cookie cutter steel cage match and just have them set up as a fight pit match. The catwalk up there really gives you a lot of opportunity, and instead of just, he's climbing over, he's grabbing him from the top and
he threw him back up.
But when Riddle jumped off the top,
yes.
And let's be real, he didn't vertically jump off. He kind of like almost did the Fred Flintstone off a diving board run drop, but still it's 14 feet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, and landing on Rollins, like that was a great, great move. And then you had Riddle winning it, which absolutely. Now the greatest thing. So at this point, it was rumored. We talked about it last week. Bray Wyatt's coming back. Bray Wyatt's coming back. So then you have Daniel Cormier with Riddle up at the end. The watermark comes on. I start swearing at the TV.
Yep.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And then blackness.
Yep. And then
the fireflies come out.
I don't think it really set in until he started singing.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, and then you hear, I got the whole world in my hand. And then it stopped. And then you even hear Michael Cole. Are we still in the air? Are we still in the air?
Those guys sold it well.
They sold it. They knew what was going on. And then you had spotlight on Huskus. Somebody dressed up as Huskus, and then it goes black again. And then you hear, I got the whole wide world in my hand. Boom. You see it. It was Sister Abigail next, I think.
Yeah.
And then it blacked again. He sings again.
Then the buzzard.
Then you see the buzzard again. And then you see the bunny that, I don't know if you caught it earlier on in the show. During the pre-show, that person dressed up in the bunny, like as they're doing the broadcast, you saw a quick 2-second footage of that earlier on in the show. And then there was some strange head that was on the announce table.
And I wonder... And I hope that they just kind of told those guys, hey, we're going to put something there.
Right.
I hope they didn't show them. I hope they didn't tell them exactly what it would be. I'm hoping that reaction was
legitimate,
real and organic. Michael Cole, because honestly, if somebody's like, hey, we're just going to put something on the table, react to it.
So
and then you see it and you're like, oh, jeez.
The other thing I read too, which... because I must have watched this clip now probably 10 times because I was so excited for it. So the Sister Abigail with the veil, the mask that she wore underneath, do you know what mask that was?
Yeah, that was Brody Lee.
Brody Lee's mask from when him and Eric Rowe were
the Bludgeon Brothers?
Yes, Bludgeon Brothers. So I thought that was a nice little nod then.
Well, that and the door. Mm-hmm. If that was also a thing to Brody, because when he first came out in AEW, he had that blue white light behind him. Oh. That was kind of rotating almost, like how that one was. So that was I read that was also part of a thing to him too.
Well, I took that as, because if you recall the Cena versus Fiend match at WrestleMania, that was the door.
Yeah,
the Cena walked through, but then cuts to black again. He finishes singing. And then you see the Fiend.
Which I heard rumor that was Bo.
I also heard that was Bo, and I heard Bo was coming back, too.
Yeah.
So then you do this whole thing. You see the camera pans through the Firefly Funhouse, which, it's been over a year and a half. It's got cobwebs. Yeah. All the puppets are, done and dead. And then goes to black again. Then you see the door that Triple T was talking about, and it lights up with blue. And then it goes black again. Then the light kind of turns on. You see the doors open. And what do we see? You see the lantern.
I like it's back to the regular lantern and not that weird.
The Bray Wyatt head lantern.
Yeah,
creepy
it was
shit.
cool, but it was nice to
It looks like
see.
a bad wax museum head.
Yeah.
And then we go, then you see a new mask, which almost looks like the V from Vendetta mask, in my opinion. And then you see Bray take it off. And then he blows out the lantern. Boom. That's how Extreme Rules ended. So it's 11:05 at this point, and I'm like, yes! Yes! He's back! Yes! So then we had the next Monday night, we had, I don't understand how they do their seasons for Raw. Apparently it's
Usually,
October?
a season ends and then there's like reruns and then a new season begins.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So it's season 24 of Raw, and they're starting off with it can't be 24 if it's 25th anniversary of DX.
I don't know. I've never understood their seasons, like you said.
So it's 25th anniversary of DX, and you had obviously China wasn't there, and obviously Badass Billy Gunn wasn't there because he's currently working with AEW. And so we're talking in the group chat, and it's 10:50, and Todd's like, "Did I miss it?" And Garrett's like, "Did I?" Because Garrett's obviously on painkillers from being hit by the vehicle. He's like, "Did I fall asleep and miss it?" I'm like, "Nope, I've been awake this whole entire time, and nothing." And then the last 4 minutes, they come out. They come out in a Jeep, and they got little cannons on. They're shooting confetti out, and they come out and they do their intro. And then Road Dogg did the ladies and gentlemen thing, and I thought it was a very cool thing how they addressed Billy Gunn not being there.
Yeah.
And like you had a couple segments throughout. I think there's 2 backstage statements throughout the show, like one every hour. And it was funny. Corey Graves made the comment when they came out that the other guy, I think he's selling office supplies somewhere. But it was nice to see them all together, but it didn't really play any part of the show.
No, it honestly,
which I didn't expect. I expected it to play.
Yeah, I'll have to say that was probably like the least
even
exciting part of the show.
Even when Austin does his returns, he's drinking beer, he's stunning people and everything, and it was and the thing, we were talking about this earlier, it was a good episode of Raw.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go to where is it? I will cut to this. We'll talk about this. My
move of the week.
My move of the week goes into a segment that was with AJ Styles and Judgment Day. So Judgment Day for the last few weeks have been kind of harassing AJ to come join them. So AJ comes down, and they're kind of making little Bullet Club references, and AJ's like, I really need my family. I need my brothers, and then they hug it out. And when they're hugging, they still got their microphones like this. And Finn's like, I'm so glad that you're back with us. And then AJ's face goes straight. And he goes, I wasn't talking about you. And cue in the Good Brothers. Gallows and Anderson make their return. Now, I had heard, I've been heard way back in the summer.
Yeah.
That they were trying to get him back. I had heard no reports that they were showing up at Raw.
All I saw was they were in talks. And that was like a rumor.
And that's been for months now. And they came back. The OC is back together. Big brawl comes out. And my move of the week is when AJ kicked Dominic in the nuts? Or was that Edge during the Extreme Rules match? That was Edge. So that's my move of the week. Was Edge kicked him in the balls because it's payback for what happened. So I apologize, but again, Anyways, it was awesome. Good Brothers are back. You have the OC back, which I think will be a nice foil for Judgment Day because that's kind of what they're leading into. The Raw, it was a good Raw. I was just let down by the DX reunion thing.
Absolutely. I think the rest of the show was fantastic. Lesnar returning and just beating the holy hell out of Bobby Lashley, and then Seth rolling down and just pinning him and, taking that championship.
Right.
Because I had not heard anything. Well, I guess I had missed it because I think the next day, on Facebook sometimes you'll be like, oh, that was from yesterday, and it's just in your general feed. And I'm glad I missed it, but I did see that Monday earlier in the day somebody had posted that, Brock Lesnar had been spotted there and da-da-da, but I didn't see that, so I had no idea.
I didn't see it either. That was a complete surprise to me, too.
Which is cool. This is where I hate the internet because it ruins a lot of crap. But in the same respect, and I think Triple H knows this, and this is why he's also not doing stuff, Vince was always, this person returns on Raw, and this person comes back, because he was all about the ratings.
Right.
To me, making people watch your show for those surprises was what was cool. Same with the Royal Rumble. You know what? Years ago, they would announce like 5 or 6 people that were going to be in it. The rest was a surprise, the
100%.
order, or just the random people that would come back. Now they tell you, 20 to 25 out of the 30
and I'm
people.
curious if it's going to be different this year.
I hope so, because the Rumble was always, the fun part about that was the surprise. The surprise returns.
Rumble has always been my favorite pay-per-view.
Yeah. But yeah, the surprise returns, or, oh man, I didn't think so-and-so would be number 1 or number 30, or, but yeah, Vince started just to kill all that by just telling people.
Right.
And that sucks because there is a surprise element to that industry where I was happy that I didn't see that, oh yeah, Gallows and Anderson are going to be back tonight. That Lesnar, because that's what made it such an awesome Raw.
There was 2 surprises there that I did not see coming. And, another highlight of Raw for me was the Bloodline segment. So you had the Bloodline come out, and then you had Riddle come out talking smack, and from a couple Premier Live events earlier, Riddle lost the ability to challenge Roman Reigns for the title. He's like, just give me one more shot. And he's like, you know what? Why don't you? I'll fight one of you guys. And it ends up being Sami Zayn, who I must say is Canada's national treasure.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I want to thank Canada for lending him to us for the amount of time that he has. And you have the seeds set in there for Jimmy and Jay, and Jay is all like, oh yeah, why don't you go fight him, Sammy? Why don't you go fight him? And they put down the match of the night for Raw.
Yeah.
And prior to the match, Solo and Roman were going to hit the city. And Roman told Jay, make sure Sammy wins. Early in the match, Jay kicks Riddle on the apron, and Sammy's like, let me handle this. And Jay's like, okay, fine, you handle it, bro. And Sammy's ending up losing. I think Jay's going to, oh, look, he lost, and Roman's going to be like, I gave you an order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't follow his orders, you follow my orders.
Yep. And
I think this is going to split Jay even further from the bloodline. And another thing, too, is The Rock was interviewed yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
In regards to Black Adam.
Yep.
And he was asked, so who's the real tribal chief?
Yep, the girl straight up asked him, who's the head of the table?
And he goes, I'm not going to say names, but I can say you're looking at him in the eyes right now.
Yep. But then he laughed. So it's one of those, like...
It's when the seeds have been planted now for wrestling.
Because he even said, like, oh, no, I'm going to get a text after he sees this and da-da-da-da-da, And, yeah, she asked him, well, does that mean you're confirming WrestleMania? And the only thing he said that still left it so wide open was, I'm not confirming that at all.
Which tells me he's confirming it.
Yeah.
He confirmed it by not confirming it.
So here's a thought that literally just happened, which is pretty rare. So you said something about splitting Jay away from everybody.
Oh, that's what I think, Jay and The Rock.
Yeah, so I have a feeling, getting more towards it. He's going to either show up with him or he's going to call him. He'll be on the screen, something.
So that's what I foresee happening. Jay getting kicked out of the bloodline, and then they'll give him like 2-3 weeks off, and then Jay shows up, and the rest of the bloodline's like, oh yeah, well, what are you gonna do by yourself? And then you're gonna hear, can you smell?
Which will be the biggest pop.
Yeah.
Even bigger than Bray coming back. That will blow the roof off the building, especially if they keep it a secret.
Which I think they can.
They've been doing really good with that.
And I believe they have the ability to do it. I think before they weren't trying to, and I think
Vince wanted ratings. That's all he cared about.
And think about it. The Rock's got private jets and shit. It's not like he's got to walk through an airport. The Rock can definitely go from Los Angeles to wherever
without
get into an arena and not being noticed at all. Like that can WWE can legit be like, if anybody posts a picture, leaks it, whatever, you're done.
Well, they did a fantastic job with the with the Hardys when they came back at WrestleMania. Nobody knew.
It was rumored.
Yeah, but even I saw an interview with Jeff or Matt, one of them, like literally that weekend. They were like, oh, because they had left Impact, blah, blah, blah. And they asked them, like, oh, whatever. And they're like, well, there's a lot you have to do, and there's a lot of tests, and there's a lot of stuff, and, blah, blah, blah. So we're not sure it might be, like in the future. So I think that threw a lot of people off, too. Because it was just, they were kind of being candid about it and almost being straightforward, like, yeah, we're going to come back. But there's just a lot of, red tape that we got to go through in order to get back.
Right.
And then, obviously after that WrestleMania, they showed videos of them literally sneaking them in, like hooded through door, like.
And I think that's something that's completely possible. And, like, I just have to say it. I keep saying it, that I'm just so excited for where we're at, what's happening. Like, it's the first time in years that I'm actually every week, like, I probably won't be able to watch SmackDown till sometime Saturday, but, like, I'm going to be glued to my phone to see updates on what Bray's done. Like, is he there?
Yeah, is he there? Is it just going to be another tease like he did Monday? But I have found myself kind of going now the opposite way. Like, I'm watching more WWE. I'm even starting to watch NXT and less AEW.
Right. Because
AEW is just, it's not what it used to be. And
ever since that huge thing that happened in behind the scenes, it's definitely not been what it was.
Well, and you know what? Like we were talking a couple of weeks ago, 120 wrestlers.
Yeah.
What in the hell are you going to do with that many wrestlers when you literally have
one show? You really only have one show.
You have one show.
You have an hour on Fridays, and then you have an hour of YouTube content. So, what are you doing?
It's not
cohesive.
I think he was just. It's almost like he's a collector. Oh, let me get this one. Oh, this one got released from. Let me get this one. Let me get that one. I want to get them all, and it's just like. Now the cool part was, everybody thought Soraya, Paige, whatever, was not able to do anything, and then last week she didn't have a match, but
now she's cleared. Too.
Yeah. So now, would she have been? She's a great wrestler. I enjoy watching her wrestle. But, the other guys and girls that come back from, like, terrible injuries or, head whatever, it took them years before they were cleared again. Edge, Daniel. Didn't take her that long. That makes me nervous, honestly, genuinely, as a human being towards another human being's health and well-being is she really
ready?
Good enough. Not good enough, but, yeah, ready to be in the ring again. And possibly have head trauma again. But, yeah, I've just kind of gone the other way. I know you guys called it a while ago. It's just kind of they were going to, whatever themselves. And they definitely have. He oversaturated his own company. And it's just gotten it's gotten kind of stale, to be honest with you.
So Complex, I wasn't even looking, and Complex said Triple T wearing the Hatchman trying to entice me into joining Z. And
You never know
Z's
where
mom
the
gave me a
juggalos
thumbs
are.
up. She loves me. We went on a date once to the mall. She's a sweetheart. We ate Chinese food. It was delicious.
Nice.
But you got anything else today, Todd?
Yeah, actually, I did have something. I stumbled.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Oh, come on.
All right, fine. Go ahead.
So I was bored last night when I was eating dinner. So I was looking on Peacock. So if anybody wants to watch this. And I stumbled upon a movie called Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. Now, at first I'm like, well, what the hell is this?
Now,
You know?
now who's in this movie?
So the reason why I actually wanted to give it a try, Matt Hardy, Roddy Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Kurt Angle, and the one guy looked a lot like Michael Hayes, a lot like him. Maybe that was the point. I don't know if it was him or not. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. If these guys are in it, they're not like no name, whatever wrestlers from back in the day. I mean, these are all people that their name holds clout, especially Piper and,
Shane Douglas was in it too?
Yes, Shane Douglas, yep. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan, like those names hold whatever. Let me tell you, I got about 35 minutes into this movie and I had to turn it off. It was so terrible. I mean, it was probably about as terrible as Aaron Garrett's title run. I'm kidding. It wasn't that bad.
All right, guys. So thanks for watching today.
But no,
this was Wrestle Fandom Radio, and this is Joe Stones signing off. Screw Triple T.